Okay, today we're going to talk about this pattern that you find when you're doing your difference of two perfect squares and you're trying to factor it. And here's some examples of things that I factored. The original thing is on the left here, and the factor form is on the right. And what you want to see is that there's a pattern. And basically what we figured out was we figured out what times itself, because it's x times x, will give us x squared, and what times itself will give us 9. Okay, so 3 times 3, and of course it's negative 9, so the signs must be different. And we put them in there. And so we can kind of go through that pattern. We can do the same thing with x squared minus 64. We get x and 8 and 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. 4x squared minus 49. 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and 49 is 7 and 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. And you can hit the square roots on your calculator if you want to double check some of these things just to see if they do have a perfect square root. You want to know if they're perfect squares or not. Here's one that can be tricky sometimes because 1 is its own perfect square. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 8 times 8 is 64. So what I wanted to focus on is basically that the formula is a squared minus b squared equals a plus b and a minus b. And what does that all mean? Well, what you got to think about is the a and the b are actual. You want to think about what things can I put in here, what terms can I put in here for a and for b, so that when I so that I can square it, I'll get a squared, and if I put in b, I square it, and I get b squared. And so what are those numbers, and what are those key numbers? So for an example, in the example 4x squared and 49, if I were to rewrite this, it would be 2x was the term being squared, and 7 is being squared to give you the 49. Okay, so that example there. All right, so those are the two terms. So once you know term A and term B, if we want to call it that, we know what to put in here. 2x plus term A plus term B, and then term A, which is 2x, minus term B, which is 7. And there's my pattern. So I'm going to use that kind of idea when I'm doing these special perfect square binomials to factor them. I'm also going to use this idea when I go to do the sum and difference of cubes, which I'm going to cover in the next lesson.